People have to understand when they're selling to someone else. They're not selling to themselves. And it's not about your feelings. It's, yes, what you had was beautiful. But this is about letting go and moving on. And if you want to move on, then you really do have to take the advice of those of us who are educated in that and know what's best. So
that's good advice.
Yeah. Welcome to the Real TFC podcast. I'm Chris Hild, your host, and beside me here is Michelle Lewis, the co-host, and we are the brokers of Real TFC. And before we dive into anything, I want to brag a little bit about my son, who's 4, playing soccer. Little dude loves it, man.
Oh, yeah, father, like son. Right?
Yeah, well, I think he's going to be better than I am.
Is he?
Yeah, or I was. I shouldn't say I am anymore. But no, this little dude, every day. So he has practice once a week, but every day, like, Daddy, do I have soccer today? And I just feel bad because I'm like, no. And he just gets this sad, so then I got to get the ball out and we kick it around, do whatever.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, he's fully motivated to score goals. And not goals.
Great.
In his words, goalie goals.
Goalie goals,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. He's got an epic move, or he's got a trademark when he scores a goalie goal. Turns around, little dude puts his hands on his hips and just flaunts it. Yep. Yep.
That is
I don't think
cute.
it's not being arrogant.
Cute.
I think he's just like, you know what? I did my job and I'm walking back, do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, look, we got a pretty cool guest coming on today, Sue Marks with The Design Center. And she's going to talk a little bit about interior designing and staging. So for all the sellers out there that always want to know, hey, should I get the furniture out of my house? Should I pick it up a little bit, or should I have it staged? I think she's going to answer that question for us.
Great.
So, all right, let's get to it.
All right, sounds good.
Welcome to the show, Sue Marks. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on to the Real TFC podcast. So you are an interior designer or stager. So what is it kind of one and the same?
No.
Or maybe you can talk about that a little bit. Is it?
Sure. I'm an interior designer.
Okay.
And I do staging.
Okay. So that's the distinction. Yeah. See,
there you go.
Us real estate agents, we don't get it, or I don't get it, I guess.
Right.
So that's great. So interior designer. So I mean, let's talk about yourself a little bit. What made you want to become a stager or interior designer? I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'll get it right.
Well, I just years ago, I started doing interior design for friends and family and work. I worked for a large corporation, and they would have me do their buildings, their offices, fly me places to do things.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah.
Wow.
Must be pretty good at it.
So anyway, 29 years ago, I called a developer and I just said, hey, I'd like to do model homes. And he said, have you ever done any? And I said, no, but I can do them. And he said, oh, okay. Well,
Confidence.
Yes.
That's right.
And so he had me in the next afternoon, hired me, and I did 112 model homes for that developer over the years, 18 years. So.
Okay. Where would you say you're based out of?
I'm in Berkeley County, West Virginia. But I am all over. I go Maryland, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, D.C., Baltimore, Virginia, wherever.
You got a lot of miles on that car, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't, mostly I'm Berkeley, Jefferson, Morgan, Winchester, Frederick, Hagerstown, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so how long have you been doing it?
29 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
great. So I'm sure it's changed over the years, or do you feel like it's been kind of the same?
It's changed a lot because of the internet and with people purchasing online and having the accessibility of product more.
Okay. Now, I've always wondered, where do you keep all this stuff? Do you got like a big warehouse where you keep all this furniture?
Well, for staging, there are two different segues with that.
Okay.
For interior design, you do things as you go.
Right,
And
right.
obviously put it in the home and
Yeah.
so forth, such as custom window treatments and blind shades and shutters and all of that. But for staging, I typically, with realtors, I really like to use what people have in their homes. I prefer to meet with a realtor and walk through a person's home and tag specific items. It's cheaper for them. It's easier for them. Typically, I will tell them what to put in a pod or get rid of or help them facilitate getting rid of. I have outlets where I can facilitate, the removal of their items. And they
That's
can make
good to
money
know.
on it.
Yeah, no, that's great to know. I didn't know that it went that far in depth. So that's definitely good service.
And then of course, we used to have storage facilities, but product gets ruined quite quickly, and
I would
nothing
imagine.
goes together. I mean, you might
That's
have
true.
a contemporary home and nothing but traditional items. So, right these days, we kind of do a lot of furniture rental. There's some companies that do specific rentals for staging.
Okay.
And we do that. Some people want to purchase some odd and end pieces, and they'll take it with them or leave it at the house. So there are myriad ways of doing staging.
So interior designing, I mean, you'll get even to where you're saying, hey, I recommend that this wall should be this color or...
Oh, absolutely.
But how much of that comes from the owner? I mean, they're saying this is the kind of feel I want. Is that you kind of just interview them and say
Yeah.
what they're looking for? And
Normally-
you just have that vision? You just
Yeah,
go, boom,
I do.
This is it.
I do. Normally, the realtor will talk to me and say, Sue, I've got a place that really could use your help. The person doesn't want to spend a lot of money, and they just painted everything.
Yeah.
And you aren't going to like the color that they painted it. And so
Yeah.
we need to work around that. And so sometimes we have that. So I like to tell people if they're thinking of selling, the first thing they should do is not do it themselves. Ask a professional, even if you called me and for a very small fee, I can come in and in an hour's time tell them quickly everything to do and give them a checklist and say, here's the basic color you should paint the entire house, and then maybe we'll do a powder room and a kids' room or something a little different. But
Oh, man, if my wife's listening.
So do you, if you are advising somebody who's getting ready to list their home, do you go with more of a neutral
Yes.
paint palette? You don't go
Yes.
with the trends?
No.
Okay.
The trends are very difficult to do, and especially when you're staging, because if you're using a person's items that they have in their home,
Right.
typically, unless they're very garish, which most people's are pretty okay, you can make them work. I'll do things like easy things like maybe keep a sofa and get rid of pillows,
Okay.
and then come back in with some pillows that work or whatever,
Okay.
or some lamps, something not real pricey. But a lot of times they'll paint their houses a color they like, and they'll think, oh, everybody will love this, And I'll come in and I'll go, no, not so much. But the gray trend, for instance, is a wonderful trend. It's sort of going out now, and we're doing a lot more, sort of the greige colors, the beigey grays.
Okay, so you mentioned these colors. I mean, I'm a guy.
I know.
You say, I couldn't even repeat the word beigey.
Well,
Greigey?
Greige.
Greige? Yes, I can't even repeat that.
A lot of homes, when you're staging, if you do sort of a beige without yellow undertones in it, you want something that's more current looking. So we tend to pick, beiges that have some light gray undertones. Grays can become very blue, so we don't want, because if people pick a gray, I may come in and it looks like a battleship, or it might look like a little boy's room. So picking a gray is not an easy thing.
Okay.
But really, if you call a design professional like myself, I can pick those colors like quick, and, and even give them names of painters that can facilitate it quickly. So I have a lot of subcontractors. So
Oh, that's great. That's good to know. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't. So, do you find yourself doing more staging or interior designing?
interior designing.
What do you enjoy more? Interior designing.
Oh, interior designing. I love doing staging, but the market, it depends on most of the homeowners don't want to, they're afraid of costs.
Yes.
And so typically, if I come in early enough, I can defray those costs by using what they have. And you can stage so much easier.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, it is. But
Now,
I love interior design because I get to suggest things like tearing walls out.
Well, I would imagine too. Like you see,
I do a lot of that.
you give them the
demo.
idea, and they go and they do it. For example, maybe
Mm-hmm.
you give them the checklist, and they do it, and you just see the expression on their face after it's done.
Right.
They're like, "Oh, wow, you were right."
And then I can help facilitate this for you, or you can do it on your own, or you can call me and I can come at any point when you need me.
Okay.
So I
Now,
offer a
how
lot.
do
like
you
Sue.
know? How do you get a feel for the right suggestions for the homeowners?
It's just sort of a natural thing. If they're going to live there and it's their home, then I pick their brains with what their lifestyle is, what their family is, and then I kind of go through what colors do you like, especially what colors don't you like,
Right,
because
right.
you want them to live with happiness. And sometimes people will say a color that or something that is kind of off the wall, and I can go with it, but maybe I'll tap it down some
Right.
and say, let's put those colors on your sofa and pillows. Let's not put that on your wall.
Right.
Or
Let's,
cabinets.
yes, yeah. So I do a lot of new kitchens, new bathrooms, a lot of renovations. I have 4 big jobs right now with renovations, with contractors doing things, and that's my passion. I'm converting right now a closet under steps in a bathroom into this adorable. It's a makeup room, and I just
Oh,
kind
man.
of
My girls would love that.
yeah, it turned out really cute, and taking away some of the squares and rectangles, putting some arches in, adding nice wood trims. I have contractors who do a lot of cabinetry building for me, and so I do a lot of that. And
Okay.
yeah, so
Well, good. Well, I mean, I come across sellers that are the age-old question is, and then this is getting into staging. So I know it's they always say, well, should I have my house empty, or should I have some furniture in there? I mean, what from a professional, what would you say?
there are 2 ways of looking at that.
Yeah.
I can walk into a home typically with a realtor, and I can get do a walkthrough and get a good feel to say that, wow, the bones of this house are good,
Yeah.
and they really show well, and the windows, the lighting, that kind of thing, are
Okay.
so beautiful. Sometimes. And I will suggest usually that we put a few pieces, just little welcome touches in, such as in the kitchen, maybe a couple bar stools and some welcome thing on the counter. But I think you can put too much furniture sometimes in for people.
Makes it feel small.
And it does, and it can, especially some of the more ranch style homes that are being built now, and the bedrooms aren't necessarily real big, but I can do it either way. And it's just a feel. I don't know how to really
Okay.
tell you, but
Okay. Well, that's why we got to
sometimes-
rely on you.
yeah, sometimes I
Right.
just say, we got a stage.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'm like, you know what? The bones are great in this house. So
Yeah, some of the things that I hear taking buyers into homes, whether they're empty or they're staged, but if they're empty, they'll be like, oh, I don't understand how I can put furniture in this room. So, that's the answer. Well, that room should have some kind of staging in it.
Right.
Or then, like what you said, it just feels so small in here. Well, no, you have a king size bed, you have 2 full blown dressers.
oh yeah, and you
know-
can really make it show.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, that comes to cost. If the person's willing to do furniture, and the staging price, then we build a staging price for them. And then we do facilitate all of that furniture. But therein lies the rub. It's really about how much does the homeowner and or realtor wish to,
Invest.
in
Right.
staging. It can be very inexpensive and it can be very expensive. It just depends on, and two, what you all are selling the home for. One of the first things I do, I'll say, what are you listing your home for? And they'll say, if they say, $875, then I'm not worried about too much. I know, okay, these people are probably going to have a lot of equity and they're probably, hopefully, willing to do some great staging. And they may have good pieces of furniture that I could use. But if they say, we have this listed for $145, then I know those people are just, they're not going to want to spend a lot of money. So I help them. I give them a checklist. I'll say, do this, and I just did that for a realtor in Berkeley County recently. And she and I walked around and we, I flipped bedspreads over. They were real figural, and I flipped it over to the plain side. And I went and stole pillows from a room. And, like in 45 minutes, we kind of redid the house. And the lady came in and she said, wow, my house looks so much better.
I'm not going to sell. And then the real estate agent's like, you're fired.
That doesn't happen. But, I know. But, those are the easy tricks.
I'm sure that bringing you in could make it more comfortable, too, because there's times that we say things to our sellers and they seem a little offended.
Yes.
Not that we're trying to offend them, but because we know what people think when they're looking at a house and having that third person kind of.
I think that really helps. Yeah. I had a lady a couple months ago who was very offended and by a realtor and they brought some people in that were supposed to help them with staging. And she was so hurt. And she was an older lady, and she had what she thought was this wonderful home with colors and everything. And she did for her age and her place in life. And they were trying to turn her, stuff or her home into, a more youthful look.
Yeah.
And so we turned it around, and I got rid of a lot of the dated-looking art and dated lamps. And she ended up, when she left and moved to Florida, she ended up gifting me this gorgeous piece of art that had been in her family for years. And I was like, oh, God love her. She was so sweet. But she was appreciative that, I was able to make her feel comfortable.
Yeah, I think in my house you would say, take everything off of your refrigerator. I have so much stuff hanging on my refrigerator.
You probably have kids, right?
I do.
That's okay. And I tell people, everybody's home is their castle, and we should respect that.
Yeah.
Now, if you're selling it, I'd make you clean your refrigerator off.
Well, I'm not going to be selling anytime soon. So how do you keep up with the trends in your business? Because I imagine it shifts pretty quickly, or maybe not. I don't know.
Trends are, somewhat predictable because we watch we get a lot of information from the ASID, from the Interior Design Society and whatever. And market, if we go to market to look at trends twice a year, you can go to North Carolina, New York, San Francisco, various places.
North Carolina?
Yeah, there are a lot of them there. And all of the paint companies like Sherwin-Williams, Benjamin Moore, all of the companies come out with the colors of the year and that kind of thing. So we have a projected idea of what is going to be, the new trend for the year. But again, I take that always into mind, but each person's situation, whether it be residential or commercial, because I do a lot of commercial design.
You probably see this office and you're like, get me out of here.
Well, I could offer some tips, but depending on what I'm doing and how much money a person wants to spend. Yeah. So, it's all about that. And then if they're really into wanting a specific new trend and they tell me, then I'm happy to easily facilitate that, whether it be through just colors or through furniture, lighting, and accessories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. So, do you have a story of where something was very challenging, whether it's interior design or staging? Do you have any stories of what was just like, I just can't. This one I can't see, or you're an ace on every single one of them.
No, well, many are challenges. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I can ace every one of them, but
Yeah.
I give it my all.
Sure.
And I have one that, in fact, there have been 4 of us from different areas who have worked with one particular property that was mega expensive. I mean, we're talking millions of dollars, and very archaic, very old, very dated.
I feel like I might know this property.
You probably do. And it's one of those that the homeowner just did not want to let go, did not want to change.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I baby stepped my way in and really made it clean and nice, decluttered, got everything refined. But still, it was, just very difficult to work with that particular person. People have to understand when they're selling to someone else. They're not selling to themselves. And it's not about your feelings. It's, yes, what you had was beautiful. But this is about letting go and moving on. And if you want to move on, then you really do have to take the advice of those of us who are educated in that and know what's best. So
That's good advice.
Yeah. Have you seen the industry in staging or interior designing? Has it increased over time? Because I feel like with the internet and now, professional photography, I imagine that folks are taking a lot more pride in how their house appears because it's being displayed everywhere.
yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah.
Definitely. The our area, and I say our area, this part of the Eastern Panhandle-ish, has taken a while to get to, the staging phase as much as Northern Virginia, because Northern Virginia has been doing staging for a very long time, and the people don't mind paying for it at all. They expect it, So it's come, it's kind of come forward to our area more in the past, I'd say 4 or 5 years. COVID kind of had a bad impact on it, but and a lot of realtors stage themselves. They kind of feel like, okay, I think I kind of know what to do, and
No.
a lot of times they don't. But
There's
yeah.
professionals for a reason.
Yeah. So
Well, if you were to give our listeners and folks that are watching a tip, is there maybe something you could tell them that might spruce up their house a little bit? I mean, it might not apply to everybody, but something that you're you walk into a house and pretty much every time you're you need to flip over that, that sheet or whatever. I mean,
Gotcha.
Anything that you could think of?
I think just making the outside and the inside become cohesive so that
Okay.
when you walk from the outside into the home, it's not like a brutal shock in your face,
Right.
Painting, people are real big on painting doors, front doors. And so they might have, their house, they have a turquoise door that doesn't go with anything.
Oh, I see. I see. I got
But
you.
if it does go with something, at least bringing that color, that turquoise, into the home somewhere and popping it in a few places.
So just nice smooth transition
Yeah.
for the feel of going from the outside to the inside. Okay,
And
that
I
kinda
like
makes sense.
using a lot of solid colors with the figural items being pillows or being the art. Not having a sofa that is leopard, for instance. Have the sofa that's a really pretty undertone of the leopard, but
Yes,
and the
I'm gonna have
leopard
to get
pillow.
I'm gonna have to get rid of my leopard couch, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I don't have one.
No, I know.
So here, real quick, wallpaper or no wallpaper?
It's coming back, and
don't say that.
No, I know. I'm not I don't push wallpaper. I did just do a project with a client that it worked wonderfully for a bedroom.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Well, they've
but I don't push it. I'm a big paint person.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
feel
love
like
paint.
I feel like wallpaper has improved over the years.
Oh, it has.
Yeah, so I don't think it's.
Yeah.
I mean, the old wallpaper would just take forever to get off of the wall.
Well, and I've done a few larger estate-looking homes with murals and beautiful. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
all sorts of.
Yeah.
I've done many of those, and I think there's a place for it.
Right.
Most people just pop it in the powder room.
Yeah.
Well, and again, it kind of goes back to what you're saying. It has to kind of go with the outside of the home, and the transitions into the inside of the home. So
You're
it
right.
gives you that feel.
Transitions,
Yep.
yes.
Yep. So, okay. Sue, that was all great information,
That was.
Michelle. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I know
I
that,
did
and
too.
hopefully everyone
I did
out there,
too,
learned a lot. But to learn more and to get to use you, I mean, so how do they reach you?
Best way to reach me is typically through my cell number, which is, you want me to tell you
Yeah.
what that is? Sure.
Well, don't tell me. Tell everybody.
Okay, everybody. It's 304-676-7785.
Okay.
And I'm on Facebook under, the Design Center, Martinsburg.
The Design Center. She made that very clear when she got here. It's the
Yeah,
Design Center.
and I email, I'm on Google Map. I mean, I'm on the typical things.
Okay.
So, and then my main office is in Martinsburg. It's 67 Crimson Circle, Suite 6, Martinsburg. And I am available by appointment best.
Right.
I'm open, I have hours, but I am a one-person show with a lot of subcontractors. So
Okay.
Gotcha.
best to call me.
Well, Sue, hey, thanks for coming on to the Realty FC podcast show,
It's
and
been
I wish
fun.
you all the best.
Oh,
Yeah,
bless your
thank
heart.
you, Sue.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
Well, that was exciting. Sue
That
Marks,
was.
she knew a lot about interior designing and staging, a heck of a lot more than I ever thought
Yeah,
went into it.
she's very good at what she does.
Yeah,
I've
you
known
know it-
Sue for a long time.
Yeah, and it was pretty cool to know that it's when I think of staging, it's just someone coming putting furniture in, but she's got a lot of resources, a lot of subcontractors and contractors that she knows that will get rid of furniture if she thinks it's not working,
Right.
and she can keep the cost down by using your own furniture.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, she said she didn't really like my leopard skin couch, but
Yeah.
I feel like we could work it in somewhere. If I paint my door leopard skin, that way the transition feels kind of right. No?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Well, we'll table that idea. All right. So, hey, what do people do for our YouTube podcast? They got to go like, comment, and subscribe. Go there and do that. Recommend us, share us, do whatever you got to do.
That's right, because we've got a lot of more good things coming.
That's right.
So.
We appreciate you guys listening and watching, and on to the next show.